Hello, Mountain View. Pastor John and Pastor Dan coming at you for one final Fireside chat. And it's our hope right now to answer any of the frequently asked questions that have been coming up regarding our pastoral transition. So, Pastor John, when is your very last day here at Mountain View?
My last Sunday here at Mountain View will be the 26th, Sunday morning, the 26th of May. So one of the questions that has come up is if people want to contact me after I retire, what do people do about that?
I think that makes a lot of sense. We all love you and have a desire to want to be in relationship with you, but a part of being a part of a Presbyterian church is that there's really specific rules on how we interact with a pastor after he or she retires. And so in this instance, Pastor John is going to be stepping away for at least a 6-month break. And during that time, we're asking the congregation to actually not reach out to Pastor John, to allow him that time to rest and to recover. And of course, this doesn't mean that close friends and family who are part of the church can't talk to him, but it does mean that we do want to give some separation and space so that Pastor John can have that time away. So John, are you planning on attending Mountain View after you retire?
I am. Right now we're planning that I'm going to be coming back to worship services around December 1st of 2024. And, my grandkids go to church here, so that's going to be a real natural thing for us to be here.
And you know the choir director.
That's right, I do.
Yeah. But what's it going to look like when you come back? Are you still going to be a pastor? What does that mean?
I am not still going to be a pastor. So there are some specific guidelines that the Presbytery gives churches in situations like this. And one of the key ones is that pastors are not to lead anything in the church or be in charge of anything. Former pastors are not to do that unless they're specifically asked to do something by the current pastor. So, the plan is right now that I will just be here attending and I'll be around, but I will not in any way, shape, or form be leading or be even called Pastor John. It's a great time to just learn how to call me John. So one of the questions, Dan, that has been asked is, what's going to change after I'm no longer here?
We're going to continue to be Mountain View. Our mission statement is not changing. The way we do church really isn't changing. We might make slight changes over a span of time to improve on the things that we're already doing. But we're going to continue to do that in a collaborative way with the leadership of our elders, with the work of our deacons, and with the great work of our staff. So not a whole lot's changing about who we are. We're going to continue to be Mountain View.
So if someone needs pastoral care or support, who do they go to? What do they do? Who do they call?
Yeah, you can. So I'll be here, so you can always reach out to me. You can reach out to the office, and I just want to say that the elders and the deacons, who we're going to provide a list, just so in case anybody's wondering who the elders and who the deacons are, they're really going to be making themselves available to be caring for folks, especially around the big feelings that are going on with John's retirement. So John, the choir director. She also happens to be your wife. Is she going to continue being the choir director?
She is. That's actually something that was worked out in this last year. She was invited to continue on as choir director, and so she'll be starting up again in the fall, and we'll be continuing in that role. So Dan, since June of 2021, you and I have had this unique co-pastor relationship. And one of the questions is, what's going to happen with that in the future? Is there going to be another co-pastor, or what's the plan?
Right, yeah, and we made this announcement back in January, but we will not be seeking out a new pastor, either a co-pastor or an associate pastor at this time. And that came after a long process of discerning as a session and working with the staff and looking at the finances. And we feel like this is the best decision for our church moving forward to be fiscally responsible.
Dan, as this transition happens, how can people support you and support the church?
I would say the biggest thing is just to be praying for all of us during this transition and for folks to continue doing what they're already doing and just being a part of this church, taking ownership here, and loving on our community. But John, how are you feeling about everything that's going on?
Well, I am feeling really excited, not only for my future. I'm going to be, for the first time in 44 years, not working for a church, which is kind of a huge change, but also really exciting. But also, as I look at Mountain View, I gotta say, just honestly, I am so excited about the trajectory of this church, the ministry, the energy here, the recent growth. Obviously, this transition plan has been a succession plan that's been in the works for years. And it really goes back about 7 years. I remember having a conversation with one of our elders early on, right after you started, and I said, I think Dan could be a co-pastor and potentially lead this church in the future. And that was like 7 or 8 years ago. So this has been something that has been a dream for a long time. It's been something that I've been hoping for. And I think with the fact that we've got a fantastic session, an amazing deacon board, and our staff is just stellar. And with your leadership, I'm just so excited about the future of Mountain View. I can hardly stand it. So I'm going to love watching what happens in the future.
I also just want to say how incredibly grateful I am and we are for over 28 years of service to this church. We are so excited to celebrate you on May 19th, Pastor John's big celebration party. So please RSVP to the retirement party. And I want to encourage everybody to, if you get a chance, tell Pastor John what he means to you and have those special moments with him if you can. On May 5th, we're having a special coffee hour for folks after church to just come hang out with Pastor John. So we're just incredibly grateful for you and so excited for what's happening in your life and in the life of Mountain View.
Thanks, Dan.